Right, so here we are. This is a very strange thing for me to be trying to do, for many different reasons. We'll get across all of them over time with time. I can't speak very well, as I'm sure you'll come to know. I've wanted to do this sort of thing for a long time, a podcast, that is. Particularly, I want to talk to other people. I don't want to just sit here by myself and talk by myself for an hour, because that would be absolutely impossible, I think. Maybe. I don't know. I do talk to myself quite a lot, and I don't think that's weird. And if you think that's weird, well, I'm sorry. I disagree with you completely. But I've been doing that a lot lately. I recently moved into a place, living by myself for the first time ever in my life. At 27 years old, I'm living by myself for the first time ever. And that came to be due to a breakup, as all good stories start. With male pain in the 21st century usually stems, for the most part, from romantic failures. I suppose that as well, insecurities and this idea of this like masculine struggle that we have on a day-to-day basis. But this one particular starts with a breakup. So I was with my partner for 4 years or so. I think it's about 4 years. We never kept track, which frustrated a lot of people, but it was one of those things we kind of prided ourselves on, that we never kept track of how long we were dating. It was kind of just, we were. Now, we lived together, so you can imagine it's quite a serious relationship. We're together 4 years. And I'd planned a life with this person. I wanted to marry her, I wanted to have kids with her, all these kind of things. You know, the things you do, you come across those things when you're in a long-term committed relationship, or a short-term committed relationship if you're one of those people. I don't judge. But the thing with those things, you can plan those all you want, but you can't change the course of your lives. And that's exactly what happened between me and my partner. Is our lives started going in different directions. And it's a very difficult thing that we found trying to communicate that with other people. We're on fantastic terms. I still consider her probably my best friend in the whole world. And we're still on fantastic terms. She helped me move house. I went over to her house for dinner the other night. She cooked me this wonderful steak dinner with potatoes and like garlic roasted mushrooms. She came to help me set up my internet connection, because I'm absolutely useless with technology. So she came and helped me set up my internet connection at my house and everything. We're on fantastic terms. And I think that's such a difficult thing to explain to a lot of people. I don't think that. I know that because it's something that we've found in the past few weeks since the breakup, is trying to explain that to other people. This amicable breakup that we've had, that it was more mutual than anything. Kind of just looking at each other and going, yeah, you know, I love you. You're incredible. You're my favorite person in the entire world. Everything you do astounds me. But it's not where we need to be right now. This is not what we need for our own personal lives. And sure, you can stick those things out and like force the relationship a bit more, but we both knew eventually that was going to come to resentment for one of us. One of us is going to resent the other one, whether it be myself for giving up my creative passions, things that I like to pursue in writing and YouTube and wanting to do things like this podcast and such, or herself with her work. She does throw herself insanely into her work because she absolutely loves it, and that's something that doesn't gel with me on a personal level. I'm not one of those people that subscribes to full-time work. I don't want to be a full-time worker. I don't want to spend my life in an office and that's it. I don't want to earn superannuation and pay taxes and just live for the man. But I don't want to discredit anyone that does want to do that, man. To each their own. I don't want anyone to tread on my sort of lifestyle, things that I want to do. So I wouldn't do that to anyone else. But it's that sort of division between us that forced a separation. And like I said, it was completely amicable. It was completely on mutual terms. We kind of understood that this was not working out anymore. We were going in different directions and we needed to be apart so we could focus on ourselves. And it was something that we could try to focus on a lot in our relationship, was not this idea that we are one. And I think that's where I've gone wrong in a lot of previous relationships, where I think a lot of people do go wrong in a lot of relationships, is looking at the partnership as one. You're not two individuals, you're one. You're a couple, you're together. And I don't subscribe to that anymore. And it was something that I communicated with my partner a lot about, and she sort of agreed. We're not together, we're not this one unit together, but we are two individuals going through our lives separately, but we have many intertwining paths, like owning a house or having a family or going on vacation or cooking dinner, those sort of things. So, I've lost track of where I was. I wanted to at first write all this down, like write out a script, read off the script, and so I could have a constant flow and structure to everything. But they're so disingenuous to me. I couldn't force myself to do that and then read off it. It wouldn't feel authentic to me, and I want this to be authentic. This is, I don't want to say a confession, that's not the right word. It's more like this is like therapy for me. This is more for me than for anyone else, to talk and get these things out of my head. So we have this breakup. I'm gonna have some coffee, even though it's like 7 o'clock at night. I'm gonna have some coffee because I fucking love coffee. So we have this breakup, and I'm not working at the moment because of coronavirus, all that shit that's going on. I'm not working. I don't have a job. I've been doing YouTube for fun on the side. But anyone that's tried to do YouTube knows that there's very little money in it, particularly just starting out, which I have at the time of recording this. I'm less than 100 subscribers. So not even close to monetization. So I'm not even close to making any money off it. So it's a hobby at this point, which is fine. That's how I live my life. I like doing hobbies and stuff. But I'm not working. And she is. She kept her job through coronavirus, and she works a lot. And she earns a lot too. I don't want to sell her out or anything, but she earns a lot of money for good reason, because she works extremely hard at the job she does, which is extraordinarily difficult. So as the breakup kind of happens at this point, I'm not working. She is. I have to leave the house. It's not... The good thing about it is she wasn't like pushing me out the door. It wasn't like, get the fuck out of this house, you're dead to me sort of thing. It was more so, you need to do this for yourself. I need to do this for myself. I need to be by myself. You need to be by yourself. And I could find a place that I could afford off the welfare that I'm receiving due to the whole coronavirus thing, losing job, etc. So I'm receiving a small amount of welfare each fortnight, and that was enough to secure me a relatively, I don't want to say small place, it's actually bigger than the place that I was living in before, but infinitely cheaper, which is lovely. It's less modern than the place we were living. So she stayed in our old place, and I've moved on and found a place of my own, and for the first time in 27 years, I'm living by myself. And for anyone who's taken that leap to live by themselves for the first time, can probably attest to the strangeness of it all. It's so bizarre to me. Still, I mean, it's only been 2 weeks I've been living by myself, so I'm probably not used to it yet. But there's a strange, bizarre nature to it of no one being there. And particularly coming from someone like myself, I'm, I hate to admit, incredibly narcissistic and stupidly insecure. The company of other people is so helpful in those times to kind of shut out the different voices and stuff. That's not the correct terminology. I want to say that. The feelings that you get. I want to be transparent. I've suffered from depression, anxiety, and all these kind of things throughout my entire life. And having that kind of company there has always been a slight relief to it. It's not a massive relief. It doesn't cure anything, But to have another person within the general vicinity, whether that be a partner, a friend, a housemate, a family member, whoever, is fantastic, to have that there. And to go from that constant safety net of having someone in the general vicinity for 27 years to now nothing. No one. It's just me. Has been strange. And I've kind of had to think about how do I adapt myself? How do I not allow this to destroy me? Because I'm not destroyed by the breakup. I want to make that clear. Like I said, it's very amicable and I agree on all the situation. It was very mutual. We need to do our own things. I need to do my own thing. And I wanted to do this for myself. I had the option to move in with other people. I had the option to seek out share housing, which would have greatly reduced my cost of living as well. At the moment, my cost of living is massive for the very small amount that I get from welfare. And that makes it very difficult and very stressful to keep afloat as I'm trying to find jobs and doing YouTube and things like that I find creatively fulfilling for myself. But I chose to do this. I chose to move into a place by myself and try to keep afloat by myself because I wanted to test the waters and see what I could do. So now that's where I am now. It's been 2 weeks and I'm struggling. I don't want to pretend otherwise. It is difficult. There are a lot of days that I find myself sitting on my phone, just texting people. Please talk to me. Please respond to me. Please be there. Something for me to communicate with. Because communicating with yourself is all well and good. I mean, I've been doing it for 12 minutes so far. And, it's good for some parts. But human interaction is such a fundamental part of who we are, like our genetic makeup. It's such an important thing. That's why solitary confinement is a punishment in prison, Just coffee as well. And I don't feel like I'm in prison. I don't. It's kind of been the opposite for me because I've been flirting with these ideas of different kind of self-improvement things that I can do. I've started exercising more. Let me rephrase that. I've started exercising, which is something that I go on and off with, has been my entire life. It's something I'm hoping to stick with. It's been 2 weeks now and I've been pretty consistent. So here's hoping that I can keep it up and maintain some kind of healthy exercise habits. But that's been great for me to start building a routine, which is something that I thought about when doing this, is building a routine and keeping to that to try and help level the insanity that could come with this experience, is to keep myself preoccupied, to keep myself busy, not just with things that aren't helpful. I'm a massive film fan. I've got a degree in film and television. I love movies. I have a collection of over 900 DVDs. Yes, I still have DVDs, plus Netflix and all those other kind of subscription streaming services. I have so much access to films, and it could be very easy for me to just wallow in this sort of period in my life, move in to this house and spend 6 months just consuming all this media content and living off this welfare check that I get every fortnight. And that's it. That could be my journey from 27 to 28. That very well could be, and that would be very easy to do. But I decided against it because, I'm terrified of aging. That's something that has really kind of propelled me forward my entire life, is this fear of aging. And the idea of sitting, or laying down, I should say, in a hospital bed at 80, 90 years old, or even 30 years old, I don't know when I'm going to die. It could be tomorrow. But just thinking of it at 80, for the duration of it. And sitting there at 80 years old on my deathbed thinking, what did I do with my life? What did I do? And thinking back on those moments, when I'm thinking back on this period in my life, I already know, it's only been 2 weeks, but I already know I'm going to be happy with it. Because I've tried to do things for the betterment of myself instead of wallowing in those things. And it's extraordinarily difficult to do. It is very, very difficult to do. This is not something that you can just wake up one day and do. It's taken so much willpower and force and constant musings on what I want to be, who I want to be, I should say, to get me over those lines. And that comes with the second thing that I decided to do for my betterment and to build a routine, and that is meditation. In the recent weeks, probably a month or so now, because it was when I was still living at the old place, I watched The Midnight Gospel on Netflix. If you haven't seen The Midnight Gospel, for the love of God, please go watch it, because it is phenomenal. And then when you finish watching that, you should go listen to the Duncan Trussell podcast, which is what The Midnight Gospel is based off. So it's like audio excerpts from the podcast itself, and then animation done over the top of it to create a different story, which is fascinating to me. But I watched Midnight Gospel, was fascinated by it, and started listening to the Duncan Trussell podcast. And he talks quite a lot about meditation. He doesn't delve too much into a lot of different things, but he kind of breaches it every once in a while and talks about the importance of meditation. And it's something that I've always really wanted to do. I've had friends that attest to meditation. They will swear by it. And I've always wanted to do it. But, there's what's the word? There's these ideas about meditation that are incorrect. I can't think of the word at the moment. But this idea of meditation is that you sit absolutely still and you clear your mind, as they say. You empty your mind. And that's it. That's meditation. And that's not true. Not from my experiences. I could be entirely wrong. I could be doing meditation entirely wrong for all I know. I don't have a meditation teacher. I'm not reading books about it. I'm not studying about it. I'm just experimenting with ideas. And they could be right, they could be wrong. But to me, this is what I consider my form of meditation. And I do sit still. I do try to sit still as much as I can. Maybe put on some calming music. Maybe light a candle or some incense to get the nice kind of smell in the air. Maybe not. It's not consistent. But what is consistent is thinking about my life. Thinking about who I am as a person. And getting to the root of my issues that I have. I said I was incredibly narcissistic. I rely a lot on other people to be a safety net for me, someone to talk to at all times, to calm that insecurity in myself, to feel some kind of self-worth at all times. I need someone there to talk to me and then to talk back to me and know within myself that person could be doing absolutely anything with their time. But they're spending that time on me. They're spending that time talking to me. And that fuels that kind of narcissistic belief inside me. So I'll sit and I'll think about those sort of things. I'll think about my other insecurities. I have a lot of insecurities about my body, which is why I work on exercising. I'm trying to get into exercising as much as I possibly can. And I'll think about this insecurity I have with myself and my image as a person. And I don't want to put blame on other people, because of course that comes from this Hollywood-esque idea of beauty, of what a man or a woman should be, what should look like, what is the ideal form of beauty. And I think we talk a lot about how that affects a lot of people, but we don't do anything about it. We sit and let it happen. We have beautiful, gorgeous people everywhere. shoved down our throats through advertising and through like Hollywood film productions and music people things, musicians, it's the word. And it breeds within us this insecurity. And it ends up, it is always down to yourself. It is always yourself to blame. I'm not putting the blame on other people. Advertisers just do what works. That's it. If beautiful people on billboards and in makeup and fashion commercials and soda commercials didn't sell those products, they wouldn't use them. So it's entirely up to us as the consumers to buy those things, allow that to work, and continually perpetuate this vicious circle of absolutely destroying our self-esteem. We buy these things because we feel like, oh, if I buy that leather jacket, I'm gonna look as handsome and stylish as this guy. You're not. You're not gonna be as handsome and stylish as that guy, because that guy's that guy. You are you. Buy clothes that suit you and your body type, and do research into that sort of thing. Don't just buy things that are shoved down your throat. And it's up to us as consumers to kind of battle that. And there's something that I think about a lot. How do I get myself out of that mindset? How do I stop looking at these people? You know, look at a famous actor. Pick one. Matthew McConaughey. I don't know. And actually, no, I gotta bet Ryan Gosling. Let's pick Ryan Gosling. He's a gorgeous man. I'm not ashamed to say Ryan Gosling, gorgeous man, fantastic actor as well. I could talk for days about how phenomenal I think Ryan Gosling is as an actor, but we'll talk about him in the sense of his attractiveness, particularly a scene from Crazy Stupid Love, where he brings Emma Stone home and he takes his shirt off and she literally says, "You're like a fucking statue," or something, or "You're photoshopped," or something like that, because he's so ridiculously sculpted, you know, the V's and the abs and the pecs and the muscles. And you see that reaction from that girl, from Emma Stone, who you're conditioned to like as one of the protagonists. And you go, oh, yeah, okay, that's how people that I like will respond to me if I look like that. And that kind of breeds within us that feeling of insecurity about our body type, about our lives, how we need to do that in order to be seen as attractive, how we need to do that in order to be seen as worthy of something. And that's not how it is at all. It's not. I'm not the most attractive man in the room. I never have been. I've never been ripped. I've never been fit. I've never had a six-pack. I've never had pecs. I've got man titties for days. And I've got a beer gut and I don't even drink beer. And I've had gorgeous girlfriends. I'm not ashamed to say it. I'm not above tooting my own horn a little bit. I've had beautiful girlfriends in the past. And I probably will in the future. But that comes down to who I am as a person, and how I engage with people, and how our personalities kind of intersect, and how we can get along as two people, and how they may not agree to that particular standard of beauty. You know, we see these like fashion models, say bikini models and stuff, is extremely thin, big-waisted, large breasts, all these kind of things, bikini models, the ideal form of beauty in the female sense. Most guys will say, yeah, you know, she's attractive, but that's not your ideal woman. And it's the same with women. They can look at a statuesque Greek-bodied man and think, yeah, he's attractive. You know, he's a good-looking dude. You know, he's got these muscles. I've got this like predisposition in my brain that makes me think back to our hunter and gatherers. He's obviously got muscles, so he'd be able to protect me, and that kind of gets something, yeah, within me going. But that might not be the actual thing that women completely find attractive. It is, of course, completely individual. It comes down to the individual person, what you find attractive, what other people find attractive. There's no one size fits all. Some people probably find Ryan Gosling absolutely repulsive. I don't know where they are, but there probably is. And there was a time when larger men were actually considered to be the attractive option as well. And that came down to wealth and access to food. If you were a heavy-set man, you had wealth, you had access to food, you had so much access to food that you'd put on a lot of weight, and that was considered attractive. You had food, you had money, you could take care of yourself, and then some. And this idea of attraction evolves over time. It's not something that's going to stay forever, and it never will. And I think about these things, how do I overcome them? And what I sort of stumbled on in that is that my self-esteem comes from other people. It comes back to that narcissistic thing. How do other people perceive me? And I should start looking at how I perceive myself. And that's through these betterment tasks. And yeah, I look at myself in the mirror every day and I do the kind of belly slap. I flop my beer gut around and play with my man titties to kind of demean myself and make myself feel worse than I already do. And that's got to change. And it's not about just exercising. That's more for my health than my physical appearance. Because I'm 27, I've never taken care of myself in that sense at all. I also started taking vitamins. Vitamins aren't there to help you lose weight. They're there to help your immune system. But the next thing that I started doing as well was dieting. And this again stems from the two different aspects. It stems from this idea to improve my self-esteem through my body, through exercising and dieting. I'm not gonna lie, that's definitely a part of it. But the other part of it as well comes from control. And it's something that I've struggled with quite a lot, is this impulse control. I listen to my impulse so much, and it's gotten me into so many problems throughout my life. It's gotten me into money problems, it's gotten me into relationship problems, it's gotten me into health problems, it's gotten me within like physical danger. It's brought me close to the point of death on more than one occasion, because I can be stupidly impulsive and listen to that impulse without reason. Just jump in, don't worry about it. And it's something that I want to control. Luckily, this small amount of money I receive from welfare is actually incredibly helpful in this situation, because I can't just eat McDonald's, I can't just get pizza, I can't just buy junk food all the time. I have to be conservative with my money, and I have to think about exactly what I'm eating at any time so I can get through the fortnight, because it is fortnightly. Once I run out of that money, I'm out of it. You know, if I spend all my money on a night's drinking when I get paid, I then have 13 days trying to survive when I have nothing. And that can be incredibly difficult, as you can imagine. Luckily, I've been good with my money for the most part. As soon as I get paid, rent is the first thing that happens. It should always be the first thing, from my opinion at least. There could be other things that you think are more important, but to me, the first thing should always be rent. As soon as you get paid, pay your rent. Put it in the account that the rent comes out of. Do whatever you need to do to get it away from your money and to a point where it's safe to sit until rent comes out or until you have to pay it. And I've brought up this dieting idea, and I did a lot of research. I went through all the different grocery stores that we have in Australia and shopped online, planned out a meal diet, a meal plan for each day for a fortnight. And how do I get through a fortnight? What do I need for that fortnight? And how much is that going to cost me? And how low can I get that cost? And then from there, going to the shops, buying exactly and only what I need, and then being careful with portion control as well. And that's something that I've been struggling still, trying to get portion control. Just tonight I made a coconut lime chili sort of chicken curry with like veggies and rice and shit. It's awesome. It's delicious. But I tried this portion control. I had like half a chicken breast. I had half a cup of rice and half a cup of veggies. Measured it all out, everything like that. And even then, it was still huge. It was still overflowing in my bowl. I still feel like shit. I ate it 2 hours ago, and I still feel like shit. Like I've eaten too much. So I'm still getting an idea of portion control. But I'm getting there. And I made it through the first fortnight by doing this kind of planning my meals and being very careful about what I eat when I eat it. It got very touch and go there. At one point, I almost, I didn't check the expiry date on chicken breast that I bought, and I almost had no dinner for one night because the chicken breast was meant to go off, but I just got there in the nick of time. It's ridiculous shit like that. This will be the last time I think about it, probably ever, in my entire life. When I'm on my deathbed in my 80s or my 30s, whenever it happens, I'm not going to think about that chicken breast that I almost didn't eat that one time when I was 27 in 2020. That's not going to happen. And that's such an interesting thing that I kind of was thinking about through meditation is, what are all these moments in my life? Going back to high school, I was bullied a lot. I was a dipshit in high school, I'll be honest as well. I was a bit of a dick. I had attitude problems, as they say. I didn't apply myself as much as I should have. And I relied on my impulses too much. But I think back to then, and I remember being sad. I remember spending so much of my life in high school being incredibly sad, being incredibly depressed. You use that word a lot when you're a teenager, but you don't really know what it means until you're an adult. But I was describing myself in that sense. So I'm inclined to believe myself, I'm me. I wouldn't lead me astray, would I? Of course I fucking would. And I think to those times and how sad I was and think, why? What was it? What were the key moments in my life that triggered those sort of things? Because I can look at that now and think, why am I sad now? I'm sad because I'm alone. I'm sad because I'm 27 and I still haven't achieved the things that I want to achieve in my life. I can think about those things and I can kind of pinpoint those moments. I made my first short film as I was graduating university, and it didn't get nominated for any of the end of year awards. I didn't get nominated for anything. That made me incredibly sad. I made a second short film just out of university, and I put so much effort and so much work into it, and we entered it into literal dozens of film festivals and showcased it around everywhere. And everyone, hey, look at this short film that we made. We're so proud of it. We worked so hard on it, and there's nothing. We got entered into one festival, which it was the first year of the festival. I don't want to discredit them at all. I don't want to shit talk this festival. It was the first year of the festival, and it's notorious for kind of just letting everyone in. They want to build as much as possible. So that came with its own sort of sadness to it, this feeling of inadequacy. So I moved on then. I'm gonna make a web series, you know. I'm gonna shoot a web series with just my friends, you know, in my house, in my backyard, with a shitty camera, and that's it. We'll just film once a fortnight for 3 hours at a time with what we've got. I'll mock up a quick shitty script in a day, and we'll just film it. And we did that, and we put it out, and nothing. No one really cared. No one wanted to watch our shitty web series. And even now I'm so bad when it comes to like, what's that word? You know, it's on the tip of my tongue. I tried to validate myself by putting it on my YouTube channel. You know, I had, 60 subscribers, maybe they'll like it, They watch my other videos, maybe they'll like this as well. And still, it got a better reception, I think. It's hard to say. But still, it wasn't much. It wasn't what I was looking for, that sort of fulfillment. And I can find these pinpoint moments. I can think of breakups that I've had. This last breakup is difficult for different reasons that I've tried to explain. I don't think I can fully articulate the kind of sadness that comes with this particular breakup. I can think about health issues. I've been in and out of the physio for the past 6 months with shoulder pains, because I have really bad shoulder pains from time to time that makes it incredibly hard to sleep. I can think about my insomnia. I have insane insomnia. Not just from the shoulder pains, it does stem from chronic hay fever that I get, which just causes me a lot of sadness as well. I have incredibly chronic hay fever. And I can think about all these moments and I can pinpoint exact things that cause me this sadness. But when it comes to high school, I can't think of a moment or a thing that happened that caused depression. I can think of key moments that caused a change within myself. For example, when I was in 11th grade, I want to say, grade 11, maybe, there was this, at the school, there's the cafeteria area, and then it's like an outdoor cafeteria. And there was like a paved area just outside the cafeteria, and then like benches that kind of like encircled the area. It was undercover. And we would sit, my group of friends and I would sit on one side of them, and then on the parallel side would sit the straight edge kids. Quite literally, the straight edge kids. That was their sort of thing, how they defined themselves as a group. And we were kind of considered the emo kids, quote unquote, because we liked, heavier music and things like that. We liked to have like longer hair. We liked to wear skinny jeans and hang out with the scene kids in the city. And they really didn't like us. And they would criticize us, and they would yell at us, and they would throw like all this kind of shit that they would do. It never really affected us all that much because, it's high school. And we kind of had that idea, it's high school. These guys are just bullies. That's who they are as people. Until one day, the biggest of them all is this massive dude. And no matter how much I kind of think about it, and I've thought about it a lot in the 10 years, 12 years since this happened, I can't remember his name. That's how like insignificant he's become in my life, is I can't remember his name no matter how much I try. And I knew his name, I knew who he was, but what I can't forget is what he did. And that was take his shoes off, those like blocky black leather bricks that you would wear in like private schools, the ones that were like from the cheap discount shoe store that had platforms like you were in the 70s. And he took those off and he threw them at our heads. Not like a underarm casual toss, like a baseball pitch through these leather shoes at our heads, specifically aiming to hit our heads. I mean, luckily we dodged all the ones we could, but then he had to come get them. And these sort of bullies, they're not shy. They're not the ones that'll go, yeah, give me my shoes back, toss them back. He came over to grab his shoes. And if we were even remotely in his way, he was going to push us out of the way. And I can think back to that moment, and I don't feel sadness about it. I didn't feel sadness about it at the time. It was an eye-opening moment for me. You know, you see these sort of people in movies, these bullies in movies, and you think, that's just a movie, you know. They're not like that in real life until you actually experience it and you actually feel what it's like to have that person torment you and wish you physical harm. And to me, that was more fascinating than it was sad. I didn't feel sad because I pitied him more than anything. And it's weird to think about now pitying a 16 or 17-year-old kid when I'm, you know, getting close to 30 years old. But it's just about what I'm thinking. I'm just, like I said, I didn't want to write this down. I just wanted to talk. I just wanted to be genuine and talk about what's going on in my head. This like therapy session of unloading all these things, and wherever the conversation takes me, the conversation takes me. And it's taken me to this point, thinking about some bully in 2009 trying to hit me with his shoes. And I'm struggling to think of what to say now, because I've been talking for nearly 45 minutes and I can't remember what I've gone over or what I wanted to talk about. I think I've hit on all the things. There's one more thing, actually, that I wanted to talk about with my self-improvement. It's the thing that I'm failing at the most. And it's the thing that I'm trying not to beat myself up about, and that is smoking. And for anyone out there that's ever smoked can attest, it is a beast. Like, any sort of warnings or stories cannot do it justice of how addictive this fucking thing is. And it's something that I wanted to do. The very first day that I spent at my new place, I was like, this is it, I'm not smoking. This is the day that I quit. And I lasted about an hour. And since then I've been trying all these kind of things to try and quit, and it's still not working. And I know what I need to do. That's the thing. I've quit in the past, but allowed that impulse side of me to kind of drag me back into the trap. So I know what I need to do. Since I'm kind of battling that impulse, I may as well add this to the fire and piss it off more. Make me feel better for pushing back against the impulses with everything that I have. Let's give it everything. Let's not give it anything, I should say. What's everything the impulse wants? Let's take all of that away from it and watch it suffer. Watch the id suffer. And that's probably not a good idea. Psychologically, it's probably not a good idea to fight your id, but it's something I'm gonna do. It's something I'm gonna try. I'm not gonna completely, destroy my id for the betterment of my ego, but I want to fight back against those things, and smoking is probably the biggest thing. I'll be laying in bed trying to sleep, and I can't sleep. And I'm just sitting there trying to calm myself, trying to relax all my muscles. I might have some nice music on. I might have like a candle lit so I get this nice smell in the air. And I'll be just trying to relax and just think of things that can put me to sleep. Think about relaxing. Think about all my muscles just de-stressing. Think about my breaths going in and out. Focus on those. And as I'm starting to drift, there's always that voice. But wouldn't you like a cigarette? Just one more before you go to bed. Every single night, and that comes every single night just before I go to sleep. And I give into it almost every single night. And it's something that I'm working on. There's one thing I've learned from Alan Carr, How to Quit Smoking. And that's the thing that I listened to previously that helped me quit. And I'm going to do it again. I've just been putting it off because I'm silly. And that was looking at cigarettes as like this reward. Because if you look at them as like a reward, then quitting, which is the wrong choice of words, is depriving yourself. And that is where it becomes difficult to actually quit, is this deprivation that you give to yourself. And that's what I'm trying to focus on, is my perception of these things. And maybe this is something that I can adapt into other parts of my life, is thinking about things and changing my perception of them. You know, my life, I don't need people in my life. Maybe my company is okay. Maybe my company is fine. Maybe I can just be with myself and enjoy my own company. Maybe I don't need to just watch YouTube videos on repeat or listen to podcasts on repeat or whatever it is I do to pass the time. Maybe I just need to be with myself. And that is where I've kind of gotten to. That's what got me to this moment here, where I'm living by myself for the first time at 27 years old and thinking about what I can do for the betterment of myself. What's something that I've always wanted to do? And for the past 3 years, there has been one thing that I've wanted to do that I haven't, and that is start a podcast. And that's us here. And this is not going to be just me talking all the time. No, that would be ridiculous. I don't think I'd be able to just sit here and talk by myself forever. And it wouldn't happen. So I am going to have other people. I am going to bring other people into the mix and talk to other people about things and stuff, whatever's interesting, you know. People that I know in my life, or people that I meet in my life that I have a good rapport with, that I think we could have an interesting discussion, or an interesting chat. It doesn't have to be a discussion. We don't have to talk about anything. We just have to talk for however long it is. And that's it. So don't you worry, there is only one voice in this room at the moment. Hopefully. I don't believe in ghosts, but you know, you don't want to jinx that shit. But in the future, there will be other people here with me, and I'll be talking to other people about things, about their lives. We might talk about my life some more. I want to be open. I respect people that are transparent, that are open with their lives. And I have a tattoo on my right forearm of a heart, not like a love heart, like an anatomic heart. And that is my heart on my sleeve. And that's something that I've prided myself on a lot, is that I wear my heart on my sleeve, and I want to be an honest and open person and talk about those things. You know, this is the 21st century. Men don't have to be masculine ideals of strength and unbreakable will, or whatever it is. It's not the thing anymore. And if you think that's what it's supposed to be, I'm sorry to inform you. I hate to be the one to break it to you, but that's not what life is anymore. Men are getting more comfortable with their emotions, and putting myself out there in this sort of this landscape, into this world where anyone can just click and listen and hear me talk for nearly an hour about my life at the moment and what's going through my head, what's been happening with me. That's cool to me. That's really cool. And that's something I've always wanted to explore, and that's why I'm exploring it now. Because I have the time, and I want to use this time for things that will help me grow and become a better person. And what better way to become a better person than to spend your life just talking about shit. Doesn't have to be anything particular. Just talking about shit. So that's what we'll do in the future. We'll have some other people on, and we'll chat to some other people about other things. I don't know why I'm calling this Don't Make Me Greg, for the record. It's a play on Don't Make Me Beg, but I don't know what I'm supposed to be begging about. It's just something that I thought of, and that's what it's going to be. So I think I'll wrap this one up now, because it's been nearly an hour, and I don't know, I could probably talk for another hour or two, but I don't want to do that. I want to keep this somewhat palatable. But thank you so much for listening. It means the world to me to have other people on the end of this and know that I'm not so alone, even though I am alone. And I'm dealing with that. It's nice to know that there are other people there to talk to. And if you need someone to talk to, you can. You can find me on Twitter and Facebook at NotGreg. You can find me on YouTube at NotGreg, and you can send me messages. You can come chat to me about anything, anytime. Anything you need, I can be that voice for you. Not that voice. Fuck, dude, I'm trying to be sincere and I fucked it up. I'll be that ear for you. I'll be that shoulder for you. I'm not a therapist. I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. I can't give you advice. I can't help you in any way except for just someone to talk to, because there's not always someone to talk to. There's not always someone to turn to. And I want to tell everyone just to start a podcast to unload their worries. But if you want to, you can come chat to me on Facebook and Twitter and just unload, just talk about whatever's on your mind. My name's Not Greg. Thank you so much for joining me. I hope you've had a great time. I'll see you soon.